They ignore you, not because you are weak, but because you are predictable. You speak too soon. You reveal too much. You seek to be understood by people who study your words only to use them later. You were taught that transparency builds trust, but in the real world, transparency builds targets. The more you explain yourself, the easier you are to replace. The more they understand you, the less they respect you. Why? Because understanding breeds control, and control breeds contempt. This is the first rule of power. What they do not understand, they cannot use. Now pause. Let that sink in. Every time you gave them a reason, they used it to dismiss you. Every time you tried to be fair, they used it to stretch your boundaries. And every time you showed frustration, they marked it as a weakness they could press again. The world does not respond to sincerity. It responds to leverage. Power is never in what you say. It is in what you withhold. Let us speak clearly now. Without emotion, without illusion, you were betrayed. Not because you were bad, but because you were readable, and those who are readable are never feared, only pitied or used. Ask yourself, why do the same people get away with the same disrespect? Why do those who say less seem to get more? Why does silence hold more weight than the most passionate defense? It is because silence creates uncertainty, and uncertainty forces people to pay attention. This is where manipulation begins, not with lies, not with shouting, not with threats, but with the ability to remain emotionally neutral in situations where others expect a reaction. Let me give you the truth that no one else will. The manipulator's greatest weapon is not deception. It is control over emotional rhythm. They study you. They watch when you flinch. They learn which words make you speak more, not less. They see when your tone rises. They remember when your eyes give something away. They feed on these patterns. You must unlearn this. You must become unreadable. The powerful manipulate without ever lying because they understand one thing. Truth, when used sparingly and strategically, is more disorienting than fiction. They do not invent stories. They reveal carefully selected fragments of reality, enough to guide your conclusion, but never enough to confirm your assumption. You think they are being honest. They are being surgical. And you? You think in wholes. You speak from emotion. You give everything up front and wonder why you are dismissed. Stop doing that. Start using silence as a mirror. Let them speak first. Let them fill the space. Let them reveal themselves while you give nothing away. Every question they ask you is not curiosity. It is reconnaissance. When they say, "What are you thinking?" they mean, "How do I position myself?" When they say, "Be honest with me," they mean, "Give me more data." When they say, "Just say how you feel," they mean, "Give me the script I need to play you again." Do not give them that script. Let them guess. Let them sit in silence long enough to question their approach. Watch how quickly they change their tone once they cannot predict yours. Respect is not earned by being agreeable. It is earned by being untouchable. People adjust to what they cannot manipulate. This is not cruelty. This is survival. If your emotions can be seen, they can be mapped. If they can be mapped, they can be used. The powerful know this. That is why they do not speak until the outcome is guaranteed. That is why they do not reveal their motive until it is too late to counter it. That is why they do not chase, explain, or react. They wait. They listen. Then, with surgical precision, they strike not to harm, but to control. And often, they do not even need to strike at all, because the threat of what they might do holds more power than any action itself. That is the second rule of power. Suggestion is more effective than assertion. The weak declare their plans. The powerful let fear do the talking. You will not win by being louder. You will win by being the one they cannot read. Let us now speak of visibility. The moment they believe they have figured you out, they stop fearing you. When you become predictable, you become harmless. And when you are harmless, they begin to play games. This is why the powerful do not move in straight lines. They shift. They pause. They disappear when expected to react, and speak when silence was assumed. They disrupt emotional patterns. They train others not to expect consistency. Understand this. Emotional predictability is a leash. It allows others to tug at your confidence, time their manipulations, provoke specific reactions, all while pretending to care. These people do not want connection. They want control masked as connection. They test you, quietly, subtly, not with words but with small infractions. They interrupt you mid-sentence. They delay responding to your message. They make jokes that sound like truth covered in humor. They watch how you respond when they ignore your boundaries. This is not random. It is strategic. They are testing the perimeter of your self-respect. If you laugh it off, if you rationalize it, if you try to explain why you deserve better, you have already failed. Why? Because you are teaching them that disrespect has no cost. The powerful never do this. They do not argue when disrespected. They do not complain. They do not negotiate dignity. They vanish. They remove access, not as revenge, but as a correction. Distance is how the powerful speak. When you disappear without warning, when you do not explain, when you do not offer the usual emotional closure, you interrupt the game. You break the rhythm. You pull the psychological rug from beneath their performance. And in that silence, they are forced to feel the weight of their actions. Never forget this. People only reflect when they are left alone with their behavior. If you are always available, always explaining, always filling the silence, you become their cushion, their mirror, their escape from guilt. Do not do this. Your energy must be earned. Your presence must be a question, not a guarantee. Now consider this. The manipulator never expects you to stop playing. They expect you to react, to argue, to cry, to demand fairness. They are not afraid of emotion. They are afraid of detachment. When you stop responding emotionally, when you begin observing instead of engaging, when you move like a ghost through rooms they used to control, that is when the power shifts. You become the unknown, and the unknown is untouchable. This transformation begins when you train yourself to stop explaining your silence. You owe no one a reason for protecting your peace. You owe no one a speech for why you removed yourself from chaos. You do not need to name the offense to justify your distance. Silence is enough. Absence is enough. What you allow teaches others how to treat you, but what you do not allow teaches them even more. Do not teach them with words. Teach them with distance, with calm, with sudden unpredictability. If they ask, "Are you mad?" say nothing. If they say, "You are overreacting," let their words fall into the silence. If they ask, "Why are you being cold?" do not give them warmth just to soothe their guilt. You are not cold. You are clear. The powerful know that clarity looks like cruelty to the emotionally entitled. Let them think what they want. Your reputation does not require their understanding. The weak build their image on validation. The powerful build it on mystery. Do not correct them. Do not defend yourself. Every explanation is a thread they will pull until you unravel. Let them fill in the blanks with fear. Let them wonder if they went too far. Let them consider who you are becoming now that you no longer respond as expected. That is where power lives, in the pause between who you were and who they can no longer reach. If you must say something, say less than necessary. And say it without tone. No rise in pitch, no flash of frustration. Flat. Final. It is not what you say. It is how little you need to say it. Now, we speak of perception. To the emotionally reactive, every moment feels urgent. Every interaction feels personal. Every silence feels threatening. But to the powerful, nothing is personal. Everything is positional. The powerful never argue about fairness. They ask only one question: does this serve or weaken my position? You must rewire yourself to think the same. You were conditioned to prove you are good. But the world does not reward goodness. It rewards usefulness or fear. To be respected, you must stop trying to be understood. The need to be understood is the rope that binds you to the approval of people who would use your sincerity as leverage. Let that rope burn. You must now decide. Do you want to be liked or do you want to be respected? Because the path to each is not the same. To be liked, you must be open, pleasing, forgiving, accessible. To be respected, you must be distant, unpredictable, and capable of walking away. It is the threat of your absence, not your affection, that keeps people honest. The powerful understand that the mind fears loss more than it values gain. So they do not flatter, they do not promise. They create the quiet threat of loss by remaining one step removed, always partially unknown, never fully accessible. This is not an act. It is a posture, a discipline. Emotional neutrality is not coldness. It is precision. You do not punish people with anger. You punish them with detachment. You do not scream to be heard. You move on in silence and let the emptiness do the teaching. When people lose access to you, they begin to question everything. This is how the powerful manipulate without lying. They let others assume, guess, doubt. They do not clarify. They allow space to distort truth in their favor. Silence becomes a canvas. Distance becomes pressure, and absence becomes power. You must learn to let your presence feel earned, not owed. Stop showing up to defend your worth. Stop teaching people how to treat you with long emotional monologues. They heard you the first time. They just did not believe you, but they will believe your absence. And if they do not, then your absence must become permanent. Do not think of this as loss. Think of it as enforcement. People only respect what they fear losing. If you always return, always explain, always forgive, they do not believe you can live without them. And if they believe that, they own you. Emotional power is not measured in how deeply you feel. It is measured in how calmly you act when others expect chaos. Now listen closely. You will be tested the moment you stop reacting. They will push harder. They will escalate. They will provoke, apologize, provoke again. This is not because they care. It is because they are losing control. And control is what they truly miss, not you. Hold the line. Do not respond to the apology made in panic. Do not soften because their tone changes. Do not mistake regret for respect. Regret is loud. Respect is quiet. Regret begs for another chance. Respect does not risk losing you again. The powerful know this. Once you make someone question whether they still have access to you, they either rise or they reveal. Let them reveal. And when they do, say nothing. Do not argue with the exposed. Do not engage the unmasked. Walk away like the outcome was always yours to choose. This is not about revenge. This is about remembering who you were before they taught you to tolerate what should have never been normalized. You were not born to be agreeable. You were trained to be manageable. Now you must become unmanageable, not by raising your voice, but by lowering your availability. Not by demanding respect, but by becoming the one they can no longer reach. Let us now enter the final layer, psychological invisibility. The most powerful people you will ever meet are the least emotionally visible. You see their actions, but not their motives. You hear their words, but not their full meaning. You feel their presence, but cannot predict their response. This is not luck. It is not personality. It is training. They train themselves not to need validation, not to over-explain, not to react in ways that reveal their position. Because in the game of power, emotion is not just dangerous. It is data. And data is currency. The moment they know what gets to you, they own a part of you. You must now do the opposite of what you were taught. You were taught to be expressive, to share openly, to clear the air. But what the world does with your emotions is not healing. It is leverage. This is why the powerful do not confess everything. They allow others to misunderstand them. They let rumors spread. They accept being misread. Why? Because defending your name is the weakest form of strength. Let them speak. The truth has never needed your voice, only your consistency. The moment you feel compelled to correct the record, you place your peace in the hands of people who benefit from distorting it. Let them lie. Let them guess. Let them watch your silence swallow their narrative whole. When the powerful speak, It is not to be understood. It is to direct perception. They use selective honesty. They drop pieces of truth into conversation like currency, never giving more than needed. They do not lie. They do not reveal. They frame. That is the art. Tell the truth, but tell it like a shadow present, but impossible to hold. You are not obligated to be understood. You are obligated to be strategic. Now, some will say this is manipulation, that this is cold. But hear me. Emotional exposure is not connection. It is debt. And once you are in emotional debt, the interest is guilt, control, and expectation. You owe no one your peace of mind. You owe yourself your power. So, withdraw it. Reclaim it. Fold your emotions inward until they become discipline. The powerful are feared not because they are angry, but because they are still. Stillness in the face of provocation is not weakness. It is precision. It is restraint. It is the quiet message that says, I see what you are doing. I am simply choosing not to reward it. This is how you become untouchable. Not by being heartless, but by mastering your heartbeat. Stop reacting when provoked. Stop responding when baited. Stop clarifying when misunderstood. Those who truly respect you do not need explanations, and those who demand them will never accept them. Respect is not earned through performance. It is preserved through refusal. You do not need to prove that you are strong. You only need to stop showing them where you are soft. So speak less. Show less. React never. From this day forward, speak like every word costs you power, because it does. And every time you give away your internal world to someone who has not earned it, you pay a price. Power is not loud. Power is not cruel. Power is not deceptive. True power is the ability to be fully aware, completely calm, and entirely unreadable. You will not be easy to manipulate if they never know where to grip. You will not be easy to move if they never know your center. You will not be easy to break if they never knew how deep you were built. The more you say, the more they shape you. The less you say, the more they fear what you are not saying. That is the final lesson. You do not need to lie to be powerful. You only need to become the kind of person they cannot predict, cannot provoke, and cannot replace. You have now seen the outer layers: silence, distance, emotional control. But there is one more, the inner shift. To become unreadable, you must first become unshakable. You must sever the root that made you crave validation in the first place. That need to be liked, to be chosen, to be seen is not natural. It was taught, and it is the very need they use against you. They do not manipulate you because they are stronger. They manipulate you because they see what you want from them, and once they know what you want, they will dangle it, delay it, distort it. Attention, approval, affection, not because they intend to give it, but because withholding it is how they hold you. Do not give them this power. Withdraw your hunger. You must become the source, not the seeker. When they sense that you no longer need anything from them, not their praise, not their presence, not even their apology, the dynamic collapses. That is when the game ends. Because the one who does not need the outcome controls the outcome. The world will notice this shift. They will feel your silence, not as absence, but as pressure. They will see your distance, not as rejection, but as recalibration. They will sense your unreadability, and they will adjust or vanish. Either is a win, but do not expect applause for this change. The moment you stop being emotionally convenient, they will call you cold. The moment you stop over-explaining, they will call you arrogant. The moment you stop being predictable, they will call you difficult. Let them speak. Let them project. Let them flail against your stillness. You do not need to answer to noise. You answer only to results. And the result you want is power not over others, but over yourself. That is where this ends. No more chasing, no more clarifying, no more performing emotional labor for people who reward you with confusion. You are not here to prove you are good. You are here to protect what is yours. Your peace, your mind, your standards. So walk with detachment, speak with precision, act with intention, and disappear the moment your presence is no longer valued. They will remember your silence more than they remembered your words, because silence, when backed by strength, becomes legend. In a world addicted to noise, the quiet one commands the room, not by force, but by presence. And once you master this, you will no longer fear being misunderstood. You will fear being misused. That is the shift. You no longer seek to be seen. You now choose to be invisible until revealing yourself serves a purpose. Everything else is discipline. Everything else is survival. Everything else is power.